You know what's going on. Yeah.
It's all scraped up. Am I gonna die?
Wrong!
You worthless dirtbag, you'll be fine. Your immune system will protect you.
The immune system? What's that?
Good question. Let's find out.
Hey guys, Mr. Anderson. Welcome to Immune System 101. You guys are so lucky to have me as a teacher, as, probably the most caring and patient person in the world, I'll help you out through and I'll never judge you for a wrong answer.
Sounds great, Mr. Anderson.
Yep. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is the Schwann cell.
Wait, Mr. Anderson, aren't we supposed to be learning about the immune system?
You know what's fun, Fed? Shutting your mouth! Alright, so as you can see here, we have the diagram. So we have the cell body of this neuron, we have the axon extending here, we have the myelin sheath. And as we all know, this wraps around the axon, right? Similar as like me wrapping around this pole, and it's composed of Schwann cells. So an easy way to remember this is to simply hit the Schwann, hit the Schwann.
Boo! You suck!
Suck.
12 seconds later.
Alright guys, the first thing we're going to talk about today is the innate immune system. Does anyone know any innate defenses? What?
The skin?
Wow, you're so pretty! Okay, anyone else? Frank?
Phagocytic cells?
Wow, Frank, I didn't know pieces of garbage could talk. Alright, I got a tough one for you guys. Who knows the types of phagocytes? At least a couple.
Neutrophils, macrophages, and dendritic cells.
Incredible. Well, Ben, since you seemed so eager the last time, do you have anything to add?
Chargaff?
Okay, moving on. Alright, so there's a couple more innate defenses. We got the oil and sweat glands, which actually produce a hostile environment to these antigens, these bad things that, kill them, like low pH, things like that. Alright, so the next element is mucus glands. Mucus glands actually catch these bacteria and also, similar to oil and sweat, create hostile environment. Alright, the next thing we have is the inflammatory response. Alright, so traditionally we associate the inflammatory response with something bad, because, inflammation, that's never good. But actually it's very good because it allows more blood to circulate to the infected area of the body and therefore supply more immune system cells. Alright, so this occurs because as certain cells called mast cells break open, they release histamines, which causes dilation of blood vessels. Alright, and the last thing we have is natural killer cells. And these cells patrol the body and kill infected body cells. Bed. Bed? Much better. Alright, to summarize, we have the skin, physical barrier, phagocytes, consume bad cells, oil and sweat, mucus, inflammatory response, and natural killer cells. But the body doesn't just stop at innate defenses. It also has a system that's able to recognize specific antigens.
Whoa, that's amazing.
Indeed, indeed. So, does anyone know anything about acquired immunity? Frank?
Lymphocytes, B and T cells.
Wow, incredible, Frank. You might just be the most intelligent fat bag of rotten trash I've ever met in my life. Alright, so anyone know anything else? Mike?
I know T cells mature in the thymus because T is the first letter in thymus, and B cells mature in the bone marrow because B is the first letter in bone marrow.
You're the most beautiful human being I've ever met in my life, Mike. Oh. Okay. Does anyone else know any the differences between the B and the T cells? Anything to add, anyone? 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 Very good. You have anything to add?
Tertiary consumer?
Why am I not surprised? Oh, please don't pick me. Okay.
Stupid. Please don't pick me, please don't pick me.
So, what we need to understand here is that it's not like the body just has one B cell and one T cell. No, there's millions of these bad boys floating around in there, and they all have different receptors that recognize different antigens. So each cell, each B cell, has millions of or thousands of different receptors on it that all recognize the same antigen. But one B cell will have a different receptor than another B cell. All right. So when these are activated, what B cell recognizes a antigen, it divides rapidly. Some of these split into memory cells, and some of these split into active cells that'll help with the response to this antigen. All right, so does anyone know any of the differences between the responses by these cells? Mike?
T cells travel around the body, and helper T cells release chemicals that stimulate killer T cells to target and kill infected cells. This is the cell-mediated response. B cells, on the other hand, do not directly attack infected cells, but produce antibodies that target infected cells for death by phagocytic cells. This is the humoral response.
So Mike, how do you feel about teacher-student relationships? Okay. Zan, do you have anything to add about maybe passive versus active immunity?
Ooh, I know the difference. Naturally acquired active immunity occurs when the person is exposed to a live pathogen, develops the disease, and becomes immune as a result of primary immune response. This can be artificially induced by vaccines.
Wow, good job, buddy. How do you know all that?
I also know that artificially acquired passive immunity is a short-term immunization by the injection of antibodies such as gamma globulin that are not produced by the recipient cells. Naturally acquired passive immunity occurs during pregnancy.
Okay, guys, let's give him a round of applause for that answer. Come on, everybody. All right, so the last thing I want you guys to understand is the difference between the primary and the secondary response to an antigen. So the principal thing we need to know is that a primary response can take weeks, and you'll probably notice the symptoms of that disease and maybe your body's response. However, a secondary response, where you already have all these memory B cells and these memory T cells from when they divided, that could take only a couple days, and you probably won't even feel the symptoms of that disease. Incredible, right? So Frank, how do you feel about that knee now?
Well, I know that I'm not gonna die, so I feel pretty good.
Excellent. Good job today, class. Good job.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
Thank you.
We love you.
Ordered up 100 roses, we the best like blase, blase.